Welcome to this Arnall-Culliford knitwear tutorial on the 2-colour long tail cast on. This tutorial is part of our Boost Your Knitting Another Year of Techniques series, and if you'd like to find out more about the designers, techniques, projects or anything else to do with Boost Your Knitting, please visit our website acknitwear.co.uk. We're using the 2-colour long tail cast on for Nancy Marchant's Brahman Cowl, which is the first project in Boost Your Knitting. And the 2-colour long tail cast on is a brilliant way to start off projects that use tuck stitches like this cowl, but also for brioche and double knitting projects. I'm ready to work my 2-colour long tail cast on with this dark blue yarn and a very pale blue yarn. You need to leave an end long enough to weave in later, and you then knot together your 2 yarns loosely enough that you can untie that knot in a bit, ready to weave in the ends. You're then going to take your needle and you're going to hold the knotted ends over the needle tip. We're then going to grasp the 2 tails in our little finger and ring finger, and you're going to put your thumb and your index fingers in between the 2 yarns. This is the basic position for holding your yarns while you do your 2-colour long tail cast on. I like to think of it as a little bit like a Y shape, where the needle and my right hand form the stem of the Y, and the 2 yarns are the 2 arms of the Y shape. If I hold the needle a little bit lower than my left hand fingers, then you can see that we form a loop around the thumb. We're going to take the needle tip underneath that loop and we're going to come up through it, and we're then going to use the needle tip to scoop the light coloured yarn going over the top, and then we're going to pull the light coloured yarn through the loop on our thumb. We then let go of the loop on the thumb and tighten it up. That gives us 1 stitch on our right hand needle. The knotted ends here don't count, we're going to untie them later and weave them in. So it can look a little bit like a cat's cradle, so let me just walk you through that again. You're going to hold the ends of the 2 yarn with your little finger and your ring finger of your left hand. You're going to put your thumb and your index finger in between those 2 yarns, and we're going to make that Y shape of our right hand and the needle being the stem, and then the 2 branches of yarn being the arms of the Y. We're going to go under and up through the loop on the thumb, and we're then going to use the needle tip going over the top of that light coloured yarn, and we're going to scoop it and pull it back through the loop on the thumb. We then let go of the loop on the thumb and use our thumb to tighten that stitch up. So needle tip under and up through the loop, scoop the pale coloured yarn and pull it through the loop, drop the loop off the thumb and tighten it up. Once you get into the swing of the movements, this cast on method can be worked really quite speedily. It's definitely a good cast on if you're in a hurry to get on with your project. Now, it's quite common when you work a cast on edge to want to work the edge so that it's not too tight. Now, people would often, by kind of intuition, go for larger needles if they want a looser cast on edge, but that doesn't actually work with the long tail cast on. What you need to do if you want to keep your cast on edge looser is make your stitches slightly further apart, because it's actually the blue yarn on the bottom that's going to determine how tight that edge is. So if I leave a little bit more space between the stitches, then my cast on edge will be looser. And you simply carry on doing that until you have as many stitches as you need. When you come to work the next row, let's just demonstrate. Imagining now that we're going to knit back along the row with the dark blue yarn. when we come to the end of the first row, we're going to let the knot slip off the end of the needle, and it'll then be ready for weaving in later. Right, I've knitted the last stitch on the needle. All that I have left is the knotted loop where I was holding it, and you can drop that off quite safely. It's not going to come undone. None of that edge is going to come undone. You can then untie that knot, and once you've worked some more fabric, those ends will be ready to weave in. The 2-colour long-tail cast on is a really neat way of introducing 2 colours of yarn, ready to work them both in your project. Thank you for watching our tutorial on the 2-colour long-tail cast on. I hope now that you're feeling really confident in using it in your knitting projects. If you'd like to be sure of not missing any of our video tutorials, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jen AC Knitwear, and thanks ever so much for watching.